Hello friends, followers and channel members, welcome to another video here on the channel, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the comparisons between Microsoft Flight Simulator and the recently released X-Plane 12. Now of course at this point I still need to point out that X-Plane 12 is only in beta, but it is open beta and it's available for purchase and download now, including a free demo. Before we go any further, I'd also like to make clear that this isn't a which is best kind of video. Both have plus points, both have bad points, but that's not the purpose of this video. I've actually spent quite a bit of time in X-Plane 12 since its release, and I have to say, even though graphically we know that it really doesn't compare to Microsoft Flight Simulator, I found myself to be really enjoying the X-Plane experience. So we're going to take a short circuit flight in the Cessna 172, both in X-Plane 12 and Microsoft Flight Simulator for comparison. So X-Plane 12 beta is at the top of your screen and Microsoft Flight Simulator is down at the bottom. To keep things fair, we kept the same aircraft and we also had them filmed at the same time of day, and we selected live weather for both simulators. So there were minor discrepancies in how that was depicted, of course. You can make your own mind up once you've seen the video which one you thought was better. One thing that struck me straight away when looking at both these images side by side is I actually preferred the runway texturing in X-Plane 12. That said, I also had Rex airport environment textures installed, so I think X-Plane has actually done a really good job here. So we took the Cessna out just following the kind of basics of Cessna flying, rotating at around 55 knots and then trying to maintain around 74 knots during the climb. Of course, I probably deviated from this a little bit whilst trying to ensure a good comparison between the two. Not easy to do on two different simulators at the same time. First of all, let's have a little look at the cockpit. So I actually found at the moment in X-Plane 12 the dials and things a little bit difficult to read compared to Microsoft Flight Simulator, a little bit blurred, and this wasn't just in the Cessna, this also was the same whether I was flying the Airbus 330 in X-Plane and a few other aircraft as well. So it was definitely something that I'm hoping once the full version is completed and we're out of beta testing that X-Plane really sharpen up some of the images in X-Plane. Now, as I said at the start of this video, I don't want this to be a Microsoft Flight Sim versus X-Plane which is better. I actually think there's benefits in having both simulators available on your PC. From an immersion point of view, of course, the graphics play a really important part, particularly if you're flying in VR. And again, as you can see, as expected, I think Microsoft Flight Simulator wins hands down. I even actually prefer the cockpit texturing as well in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So something to bear in mind if you are a flyer in VR. Now, where X-Plane has always shone is the flight dynamics in the X-Plane simulators. Also FAA approved as well for training. You have to believe that X-Plane is far superior to anything else that is currently available. Well, yeah, I would absolutely say the flight dynamics in X-Plane 12 are really nice and as expected, but there are just a couple of things that did bug me. But again, remember that this is a beta version, so these may get ironed out over time. For me, I personally felt that the movement of the aircraft in X-Plane 12 was too instantaneous. There wasn't any delay at all. It was almost arcadey in a way that you would move the yoke left or right and straight away the aircraft would act without any hesitation at all. There wasn't any hint of sluggishness in the Cessna 172. Now, I've been fortunate enough in the past to have flown Cessna 172s in real life, and yeah, as soon as you move the yoke left or right, it does move rather quickly, but it's not absolutely instantaneous. There is just that slight hint of a delay, as you would expect, of course, when traveling through the air. But at the moment, it did feel like it was more of a bit of a jet fighter response than a Cessna response. Now, I would say as well, just a caveat to this, that I probably still need to go in and tweak my settings a little bit in terms of the sensitivity. So if you guys have had a chance to play around with X-Plane 12 and the Cessnas, and you've been lucky enough as well to fly them in real life, let me know how you think the controls compare. I do believe as well that the aircraft interacting with the surrounding air is spot on, just as we would have expected from X-Plane, so that's great to see. But what about the flight dynamics in Microsoft's Flight Simulator? These have always gotten a little bit of a bad press, I feel. And it's true, when the simulator first came out, a few things I felt were quite overdone. The turbulence when flying over the Alps, for example, is far exaggerated from perhaps what it should be in real life. But when thinking about situations like this, just a nice little flight in a Cessna, I actually, when comparing the X-Plane flight with the Microsoft Flight Sim flight, didn't find too many differences. It's not like either of them were flying on rails like FSX used to be. And just for comparison purposes as well, in this video, they were both the default Cessnas as well that came stocked with the simulator, so there was no fancy add-ons or anything like that. So I was actually really happy to see that the dynamics in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I would say, pretty much equaled that of X-Plane during the flight today. Let me know again if you agree or disagree down in the comments below. But if we do just go back and check out a little bit of that landing video comparison again, remember both of these had exactly the same weather, same time of day, things like that, same aircraft. I actually found that the bottom video, which is Microsoft Flight Simulator, looked to be a little bit more true to life. It's bouncing around a little bit, not too much of course, whereas X-Plane just seemed really rather standard, and it was far easier perhaps to concentrate getting down bang on the center line of the runway. Again, really interested to see what you guys think to this. I have to hold my hands up. It's actually been a long time since I've been at the hands of a real Cessna. The last time I was fortunate enough to grab hold of one was around 3-4 months ago. But from memory, they do bounce around quite a little bit, so they certainly don't fly level and straight all of the time. So maybe Microsoft Flight Simulator is now slowly starting to catch up with X-Plane with regards to the flight dynamics, where X-Plane has of course been the top of the game for the last few years. Remember of course, X-Plane 12 is still in open beta, so we are still not yet seeing the final product. Microsoft Flight Simulator has had 2 years since its initial release to grow and develop, and of course get really good high quality add-ons for the simulator, such as the Phoenix PMDG and of course the fly-by-wire, as well as many other general aviation aircraft that have been commercially developed and released for Microsoft's Flight Simulator. In time, of course, that is exactly what we would expect from X-Plane developers. The big question of course will be now, how much time and effort will the developers for X-Plane continue to do so, with Microsoft Flight Simulator gaining more and more traction in the flight sim community. Microsoft Flight Simulator also has the added bonus of being available on Xbox, so it appeals to a vast audience compared to that of X-Plane. In conclusion then, following this comparison video, which is better, Microsoft's Flight Simulator or X-Plane? I'm afraid I can't really give you an answer on that one. Of course, in an ideal world, we would get X-Plane and Microsoft Flight Simulator both plus points combined, get rid of anything that we don't like, and then we would have an epic flight simulator for home use. Sadly though, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So let me know down in the comments below what you think of both simulators. Is there room for both on your PC, or are you making the choice to go with either one or the other? And if so, which one do you prefer? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have found this video useful. If you have, please don't forget to leave a like, and of course, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications bell so you don't miss any future content or live streams. Thanks very much. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye for now.